Hello everyone and welcome to the post-game programme here on SAFC Live. We've just watched Sunderland get all 3 points down at the Hawthorns. Danny, a great performance from Sunderland this afternoon, obviously helped by that sending off at the end of the first half, but Pierre-Ekou's goal, the difference.
It was indeed, and I think, it was very similar to the Leeds game in a way, obviously up until that sending off. Second half, I thought we started quite well, controlled the game, moved the ball well, frustrated them, they made a few changes. And then they had a little spell, 10-15 minutes, West Brom, where you felt that they were coming into the game, and then it just went away towards the end. We made a change or two, and then that was that. So a great week. Listen, was it 5 points from the 3 games?
5 clean sheets in 6?
3 clean sheets in the last 3 games as well, 5 in 6. A good week for Mike Dodds and the boys. OK,
let's look through some of the moments then from the game, and we can maybe discuss things as we see them happen. Because a lot happened and not a lot happened, especially in that first half.
Yeah, in terms of the tempo of the game, it was quite flat in the first half, really. They had a lot of the ball.
There wasn't much of an atmosphere down
really
there either.
No, there wasn't. No,
the home fans.
He was frustrated. You could see him. He wanted more tempo in their play. But look how we're set up in the last couple of games. Out of possession, narrow and compact. As I said there, you're getting Chris Rigg. He's coming narrow, Jack as well, alongside Job, and not allowing teams to play through us too often. They have to go around us. And it just frustrates teams, as you said there, especially with both Leeds and West Brom up there in amongst the playoffs and automatics. When they're at home, their fans want to see them dominating, creating opportunities, working the goalkeeper. And if we're honest, that's probably the most Anthony Patterson's had to do all afternoon.
There was a header as well towards the end of the first half as well, but from outside the box pretty much.
All that, from 30-35 yards, and that's all he's had to do really in the last 2 games against teams who have dominated games this season, scored a lot of goals.
A lot of people are excited about Mikey Johnson. He can't really do anything in the game, really, from a West Brom point of view either. Tom Fellows on the other side didn't threaten enough either. Obviously, it's the sending off which changes the whole optics of the game.
Yeah, of course. I think with Johnson, as you say there, first off, out on the left-hand side, they moved him into midfield in the second half. He tinkered it a little bit, didn't he? Made a couple of changes at the break, and then not long after, as we say.
That's the header I was
trying to get them going. Yeah, but that's not even a half chance, really, is it, from outside the box? And he takes them in a warm-up session, Anthony Patterson. So he'll be delighted, and as good as we've been, defensively, that one blip, a big blip, wasn't it, against
That's Sandy's first one.
Yeah, there's his first one there. So Jack just invites it, really. He overruns it, as he does. He goes across the pitch and there, sees on the front foot there. He thinks I can nick this, but it's split second. We've slowed it down there. And that's all it takes there. Doesn't get their yellow card.
So he gets that yellow card, Danny, on the 41st minute.
Yeah, and that one there, he
2 minutes later,
it goes in with a high boot.
Yeah.
Is it from this angle? You think, it's possibly a red card because he goes in, studs up, looks like he's raked him down his knee, but he's holding his shin there, Dan Bollard. But either way, listen, it's certainly a yellow card, isn't it? And he knows, and then he's cost his team, really, hasn't he? Because not long after this happens, decent ball in from Callum Styles, out swinger. Dan Ballard goes up with a couple of the West Brom defenders. Nobody gets anything on it, and then it just drops to Pierre-Ekou, and it's almost instinct. Just puts the left boot out, doesn't he? Good contact on it, and it's past the keeper before he knows it. And then there's that big smile on his face, and that has proved to be the difference.
Yeah, to be fair to Pierre-Ekou, he takes it really well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does, because he doesn't have time to think about it really. He probably thinks he's seen the flight of it, and he thinks either Dan Ballard's going to get something on it, or those West Brom defenders going up for it as well, but nobody does, and then all of a sudden it's on him, and he just stabs it into the corner of the net, doesn't he? And then I thought at the start of the second half, as I said there, I thought we controlled it quite well. We moved the ball around, frustrated them, and then they made a few changes, Swift being one of them, and then he receives the ball there, no real pressure on him. Then Dan Neil comes across, and then he tries to bend it into that far corner. I think Anthony Patterson has got it covered. We didn't see that angle from behind the goal. And then we've had a couple of half chances ourselves, haven't we? This one into Pierre, just chops back inside and doesn't really find the corner. That's the thing there, as it opens up for him. He could go left or right, but it's straight down the middle of the goalkeeper, really, isn't it, at the keeper Palmer. No massive clear-cut opportunities in the second half. This one here, we thought Job was in for a moment, didn't we? Mowat's header.
Palmer's starting position must be outside the box,
out of picture there, and just does enough to clear it, so... For all the play in the second half, I don't think either team really worked a good, clear-cut opportunity, did they? This one is fizzed across. Dan Ballard allows it to run across, drops to Styles. He clears it, really, and then it's Matt Phillips, isn't it? Another substitution off the bench for West Brom, doesn't do enough with it. And then, Trey Hume, another one on Phillips, isn't it? Decent ball in, just trying to get in between Luke O'Neill and Trey Hume, and then Trey just does enough to put him off on that one there. And then Callum Stiles, who I thought had a really good game this afternoon, by the way.
He did.
Drifted around the pitch, different positions, cuts inside on his weaker right foot, and then he's trying to bend it into that far corner, just past the post and a couple of yards from this angle, as you see. Palmer scrambling across, but so he's going wide. So yeah, a great afternoon for Sunderland. We're seeing it back again. Jack for this one. Yeah, Jack, as we said, a little bit of a frustrating afternoon for him, especially in that first half, a little bit loose with his passing. That one there's no real options on for him with the amount of bodies which are in front of him from a West Brom point of view, and then he just tries to do the keeper but drags it into the side netting. So yeah, a good afternoon. He got a little breather at the end, didn't he? And Dan Neil trying to link this one up, looking for Job at the far corner there. Furlong just does enough to turn it behind for the corner.
Just getting the stats in, Danny, from the game. The possession was actually split 50-50.
Right, okay, yeah. I think they bossed it in the first half, I'd say. Second half, we started well, had a good 15-20 minutes, then they came into it, and then we finished strong. So yeah, I'd probably say similar.
Yeah.
What about opportunities?
Opportunities-wise, Sunderland had 5 shots, 2 on target. And of course, it's all about what you do with those ones on target. West Brom had 4 shots on target, but you can't really remember any of those.
Yeah.
Forcing a brilliant save out on Anthony Patterson.
So generally, off the stats there, you'd say pretty equal, really. And you're probably watching it, you'd say that really as well, wouldn't you? So, albeit, they had the man down there, so that's impacted the game as well. Yeah.
Okay, then let's have a look around at the final scores around the division this afternoon. Some pretty interesting ones. We'll have a look. There was an early interesting one as well. Leeds United beaten at home for the first time in the league this season by Blackburn Rovers. In the other games, Birmingham City 3, Coventry City 0. In a result which could keep Tony Mowbray's Birmingham City afloat. Bristol City 1, Huddersfield Town 1, Hull City 3, QPR 0, Ipswich Town 1, Middlesbrough 1, so no one wants to win this division, as we've said on many occasions, and we're still saying it today. Millwall 3, Cardiff City 1, Preston North End 0, Norwich City 1, so that win for Norwich
Big
helping
for Norwich,
them.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Stoke City 1, Stoke scoring late on to equalise in that game. Southampton 3, Watford 2, Swansea City 1, Rotherham United 0. I wonder what that does to the league table as far as Sunderland are concerned. So this will be from 11th to 20th, a nice little nugget of the championship there you're looking at. Sunderland 13th, we knew they would be in 13th even with a win, but they do close that gap onto 56 points to Bristol City. I wonder if Mike Dodds has got a points total he'd like to get to by the end of the season. It'd be nice to get over that 60 points mark.
Yeah, I was going to say, get 60 mark. Can we finish in the top half, really, isn't it? You say Cardiff, Bristol, ourselves.
Yeah.
Sort of Swansea, Watford, been in that pack for a bit now, haven't we? So yeah, that's the aim now, really, isn't it? 3 games to go. We're on a nice little run there now after the 3 games this week. No more midweekers, as you say, so it's weekend to weekend, and then finish the season strong. That's all you can do, really, isn't it? Millwall, Watford, Sheffield Wednesday.
Sheffield Wednesday, last
so
game.
So 3
obviously.
teams down there, sort of in and around us as well. But that's all you can do. Yeah, big confidence for the boys today.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a look around the world. Your thoughts here on hashtag Ask Danny. If we can see what you've been saying using the hashtag. Chloe's been in touch and said, cheers for answering my question last match. New question. All right, Chloe. Who is your ideal manager for Sunderland, and who do you think will? Who do you think? And do you think we'll get promoted? Sorry, I couldn't see your message there, Chloe. So, do you think we'll get promoted? Yes, is the answer, of course. Manager-wise, no one knows. We know nothing. We're back here at the Stadium of Light. No one else in the building at the moment. Yeah. No one tells us anything, do they, Danny?
No, exactly. Yeah, there's going to be names thrown about between now and the end of the season. Obviously, during pre-season, have the board already got their man marked?
It's not you, is it?
No, certainly not.
Are you ruling yourself out?
I am, yeah, at this early stage.
You heard it here first.
I am, yeah. We'll have to have a word, see if we can get hold of Pep, can't we? But no, I think he's tied in with City. Listen, whoever they get in, it's a big summer for us. Obviously, the transfers off the pitch, there'll be players that will obviously move on. But recruitment's massive in the summer.
Do you think the sooner the first team coaches sewn up, the easier everything else becomes?
Exactly. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, you don't want to be going towards the end of pre-season, without the manager in place. The fans will get restless.
Yeah.
You want to get it done as soon as you can, and then give him all the pre-season to work with the players we've got. Obviously, in discussions with the recruitment team, who do you like to bring in? Who do we need? Get all those things sort of ironed out early on, and then work with the squad. 3-4 games in pre-season, and then go into that first game ready to hit the ground running. Yeah, so it's a big season, big summer, big season for the club coming up.
Yes, as they all are. Let's have a look at another thought here on hashtag Ask Danny this afternoon. Cue Ball's been in touch and says, what do you make of our ball retention? We seem to give the ball away far too cheaply in midfield. How do we fix that? Was it better than Tuesday night today?
There were moments. He's right with what he's asking. We've mentioned that on commentary there, and I'm sure the boys and Mike Dodds are discussing it as well in the change rooms after the game as well. Listen, we've won the game, so let's look at the positives.
It might be something that Mike Dodds pulls up on the post-game. He's quite honest, isn't he?
He did, yeah, and he did after the Leeds game as well, and he was disappointed with that. It was a good point, but we've got to do better when we get possession. Listen, we've had 50-50 possession today, but yeah, there were opportunities in the first half. We tried a few switches. Didn't find the man. We were a little bit loose.
Just
and when they were having
opportunities to make life easier for themselves.
Yeah, listen, we're obviously a young squad. You sense it in a game, really, when you're under the cosh and you're working that hard off the ball, that when you get it, you want to have a spell on the ball and then try and frustrate the opposition. And we didn't do that well enough in the first half. And there were also moments in the second half we didn't. We did after the break, I thought, for 15 minutes or so, we'd done quite well. You move it across the back. Then they've got to come out. You could see, I said, Corber on there on the touchline. He wants Jed Wallace and the other players to go and press, to go and get after us. And if they do that, that's when you get your little lanes to pass into. I said we had a 10-minute spell or so where we did do it quite well, but then we went away from it again. And as I said, if you were tuning into the game from, say, 60 minutes onwards there, you wouldn't have known we had the extra man. So you've got to manage the game better, frustrate them. We're already in front. And then when you get those little pockets of space and you can play through their press, that's when we should have had a few more opportunities. So that'll be the disappointing for Mike Dodds there. Yes, we've won the game, but how many saves has their keeper had to make, as well as, obviously the goal we got in the first half. He didn't have too many saves to make in the second half. Styles went close. Jack had the one into the side netting, but there weren't too many others with it. Pierre's straight down his throat. We should have perhaps created a few more opportunities shooting towards those Sunderland fans in the second half. Okay,
let's have a look at what will be the final hashtag here on hashtag Ask Danny. Harrison's been in touch and says, who do you reckon out of Clark, Ballard and Neil is the most important for Sunderland? All different types of important, aren't they?
It's a good question because it's pretty much the spine of your team, isn't it? Defender, midfielder and an attacker, really. So they're all important for us. They've all had good seasons. There'll be interest from other clubs, Premier League clubs, I'm sure there are. There'll have been scouts there having a look today from clubs. But yeah, from our point of view, you want to hold on to these players as long as you can. We'd be sat here and we'd be lying if we said you wouldn't expect one of them or maybe two of them to move on in the summer. That's what's going to happen. Now, if they do move on, what's the money coming back in for them? What we get going back into the recruitment terms of the side? It's a big summer. We've just mentioned it there. So if you do lose the likes of Jack Clark, there are going to be offers coming in for Jack in the summer. Of course there are. Who are we looking at getting in to replace him? It's a big player to replace, isn't it? 15 goals this season, numerous assists under his belt as well for us. Dan Neil, I think he's got a big future. I keep saying I love watching Dan play when he's on his game, the way he takes the ball in tight areas.
Well, he did it a few times today. He just pulls away from his marker, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's calm. He never looks flustered, really, does he, in possession, Dan? Even late on there, little give and go with Patrick down the right-hand side. He's looking to bend that ball in for Job in behind. And then Dan Ballard, again today, he's getting boos off the crowd. Yeah, off that incident, what happened with Josh Madger at the stadium, in the game at the Stadium of Light earlier in the season. But it wouldn't have fazed him. Love watching Dan play, loves to defend, loves to try and dominate his man. We've seen it with Patrick Bamford in the week, came out on top in that one. And again this afternoon, whoever he comes up against, he's got the magnet on his forehead when the ball comes into our box. Time and time again, he wins balls. He can step in with the ball as well. So he's another one who's got a big future ahead of him. And as long as they're at Sunderland, you want to see them going forward with the club and progressing.
Yes, we hope that happens. Okay, Danny, thanks for your company this afternoon. It's good to have 3 points. I hope you enjoyed it here on SAFC Live. We're next in action on Saturday the 20th, back here at the Stadium of Light. Millwall are in town for that one. 3 p.m. kickoff means we'll be on air from 2:15. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.